Hi students, once again welcome back to computer class. So in our last class we studied about number system, okay, and today we are going to study about chapter number 5, that is introduction to Excel. Okay, today we are going to study chapter number 5, that is introduction to Excel. See in this picture, Gobi is making a bill of books and other stationery items he bought last week. Help him fill in the missing data in boxes labeled A to E. Okay, see what you see in this picture, that is a table, okay, and that table is been arranged in the form of rows and columns, and this is what you mean by spreadsheet. And inside a computer you can use a software known as Microsoft Excel for creating spreadsheet. Okay, and inside that spreadsheet you can enter data, you can perform calculations, etc. Okay, once again what you see in this picture, it is a table, and this table has been arranged in the form of rows and columns, and inside this rows and column you are entering data. Okay, this is what I mean by a spreadsheet. And inside a computer, for creating a spreadsheet you can use the software which is known as Microsoft Excel. Okay, inside this spreadsheet you can enter data, you can perform calculations, etc. Okay, so in this chapter we are going to study about Microsoft Excel and different features of this Microsoft Excel. Okay, first let us study how to start Microsoft Excel. Step number 1 is you have to click on start button, and then you have to click on all programs. Okay, then you have to click on Microsoft Office, and at last you can click on the Microsoft Excel 2010. Okay, so once again, for starting Microsoft Excel, first you have to click on the start button, then you have to click on all programs, and then you have to click on Microsoft Office, and then at last you have to click on Microsoft Excel 2020. The Microsoft Excel worksheet will appear on your screen. See, what you see in this picture is the Microsoft Excel workbook. Okay, this Excel file is known as workbook. Think of this workbook just like our simple notebook. Okay, that is, inside a notebook it consists of many pages. Similarly, a workbook also consists of many pages, and these pages, they are known as worksheet. Okay, a worksheet, they has got rows and columns in which you can enter data. So once again, when you open the Microsoft Excel, the file that you see, it is known as workbook, and think of this workbook as our notebook. Inside a notebook they consist of many pages. Similarly, inside a workbook they consist of pages which are known as worksheet. Next, let us look at the differences between a workbook and a worksheet. We have studied that an Excel file is known as a workbook. That is, you can compare a workbook to a notebook. Okay. Just as a notebook consists of different pages, a workbook also consists of different pages, and they are known as worksheet. Okay. So let us look at the differences between a workbook and a worksheet. First difference is, in a workbook it consists of many worksheet. Okay, that is, workbook is just like a notebook. A notebook consists of many pages. Similarly, workbook also consists of many pages which are known as worksheet. And look at the worksheet section. It is a single sheet of a workbook. Okay, worksheet means it is a single page inside the workbook. And look at the second difference. Inside workbook you cannot add and change data in a workbook. Okay, inside worksheet you can add and change data only in a worksheet. Okay, so if you want to add or make any changes inside the data, you can do it only inside a worksheet. You cannot change or add data inside a workbook. Okay, and third difference is, you cannot add a workbook in another workbook. That is, there exists only one workbook. Okay, and you cannot add another workbook into one existing workbook. Inside worksheet you can add as many worksheet as you want in a single workbook. We know that workbook, they consist of many pages and they are known as worksheet. Okay, so we can add as many worksheet inside a workbook. A workbook holds the entire data. A worksheet is a page in a workbook holding only specific data. Okay, so these are the differences between a workbook and a worksheet. Just think of a notebook. Okay, that is consider of a notebook as a workbook, and each pages inside the notebook can be considered as worksheet. Okay, so these are the differences between a workbook and a worksheet. Next, let us see some of the parts of an Excel worksheet. See in this picture, these are some of the parts inside a worksheet. They are being marked with red symbol. Okay, first one is row heading, then there is a cell address, then there is a cell pointer, then there is a column heading. Okay, so now we can study in detail about each one of them. That is what you mean by row heading, what you mean by cell address, what you mean by cell pointer. Okay, so we can study in detail about each one of them. First, let us study what you mean by rows, columns and cell. Okay, rows, they run horizontally, cells, they run vertically in an Excel worksheet. It has been marked over this picture. Okay, rows means numbers from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, they run horizontally. Okay, rows run horizontally, and columns like A, B, C, D, they run vertically. Okay, so columns, they run vertically, and the intersection of a column and a row is known as a cell. This is where you enter a data. You enter a data inside a cell. Okay, intersection of row and column is said to be a cell. So we have seen what you mean by a row and a column. Now let us see what you mean by row heading and column heading. Row heading means each row is identified by a number called row heading. That is, each row is been identified by numbers like 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. And this is known as row heading. And row headings, they appear along the left border of a worksheet. Next one is column heading. That is, each column is identified by letters, and they are known as column heading. That is, each column, they are identified by letters like A, B, C, D, etc. And this is known as column heading. And column heading, they appear across the top border of a worksheet. Once again, row heading means each row is being identified by numbers like 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. This is known as row heading. And column heading means each column is being identified by a letter, and this is known as column heading. Letters like A, B, C, D, etc. Okay. We have seen what a cell is. That a cell is the intersection of a column and a row. And when you click on a cell, a thick black border will appear along its boundary. And this cell is now called as an active cell. See in this picture, the active cell is being highlighted. A border appears over a cell, and that cell will be highlighted. Such type of cell, they are known as active cell. And inside the cell you can enter data. That is, you can enter data only inside an active cell. Okay, the highlighted boundary of an active cell is known as the cell pointer. Okay, that is, the cell is being highlighted by using thick black borders, and this highlighted boundary of an active cell is known as the cell pointer. Okay, so we have studied what you mean by a cell. Cell means it is the intersection of a column and a row. And when you click on a cell, a thick black border will appear along its boundary, and this cell is now said to be an active cell. That is, cells which are highlighted, they are known as active cell. Okay, only you can enter a data only inside an active cell. Next part is name box. Okay, name box, they will display the cell address of an active cell. Inside the name box, the cell address of the active cell will appear. See in the cell A1, that particular cell is being highlighted with black borders. Okay, that means we are currently inside that particular cell A1. Okay, so the name of that or the address of that particular cell will appear inside the name box. Name box, they display the cell address of an active cell. And next part is formula bar. Okay, we have studied what you mean by an active cell, and whatever content we write inside this active cell will appear inside the formula bar. Okay, whatever content we write inside the active cell will appear inside the formula bar, and what you see in this picture is the formula bar. You can also click in the formula bar for entering data into an active cell. Okay, so formula bar, they display the content of the active cell. Next part is file tab. It has been used for opening new or existing worksheet. It is also used for saving and printing worksheet. That is, you are familiar this is with this file tab. You have seen this inside Microsoft Word, etc. Okay, so file tab, it has been used for opening new or existing worksheet, and it is also used for saving, printing worksheets. Okay, and what you see in this picture, the arrow, it is been pointed over to a file tab. That is what we mean by a file tab. Okay, next part is cell address. That is, each cell in a worksheet, they has got a unique address, and using this unique address we can differentiate between different cells in a worksheet. For providing or for writing a cell address, first you have to take the column heading. Here in this picture I am taking the column heading C and followed by the row heading. Here I am taking the row heading 5. Okay, so the cell address or the address for that particular cell is C5. Okay, and let us look at the address of the first cell. The column heading is A and the row heading is 1. So the address of the first cell is A1. Then look at the second cell. The column heading is B and row heading is 1. So the address of the second cell is B1. Okay, this is how you provide a name for a cell, or this is how you write a cell address. Okay. Next, let us study how to create a new workbook in Excel. First step is you have to click on the file tab, and inside the file tab there is an option given for new. You have to click on that option new. Okay, and next step is you have to click on the blank workbook. See, the arrow is being pointed over to a blank workbook. You have to click on that blank workbook, and at last you have to click on the create button. So once again, for creating a new workbook, first you have to click on the file tab. Under the file tab there is an option given for new. You have to click on that option, and third step is you have to click on the blank workbook, and last step is you have to click on the create button. Next, let us study how to enter data in a worksheet. Step number 1, click on the cell where the data is to be entered and start typing. Second step is, after you finish typing, press the enter key. You will move to the cell below the active cell. And step number 3, to move to the adjacent cell, press the tab key. Once again, step number 1, click on the cell where the data is to be entered and start typing. Step number 2, after you finish typing, you have to press the enter key. Then you will be moving on to the cell below the active cell. And step number 3, to move to the adjacent cell, you have to press the tab key. Next, let us study about types of data. First type of data is text. Inside a text, they contain letters, numbers, spaces and special characters. Okay, first type of data is text. Second type of data is numbers, such as 0, 1, 2, 3, etc. Okay, second type of data is numbers. First type of data is text. Second type of data is numbers. And third type of data is special characters like equal to, dollar, at, etc. Okay. Fourth type of data is formulas. That is, inside Excel we can perform mathematical operations like addition, subtraction, multiplication, finding average, finding percentage, etc. So for performing these mathematical equations, we need formulas. Okay. That is, you need to use mathematical equations called formulas for performing different operations inside the Excel. Okay, and a formula always start with an equal sign. Okay, formulas always start with an equal sign. These are the 4 types of data. Now let us study how to edit data in a worksheet. First step is you have to select the cell by clicking on it, and second step is start typing the new data and press the enter key. So first step is you have to select the cell in which the data is to be changed, and second step is you can start typing the new data and you have to press the enter key. You can also change a part of the data. To do this you have to follow these steps. First step is you have to double click on the cell. A cursor will appear inside the cell. Second step is move the cursor to the desired place using the arrow keys and change the text. And step number 3, once you edit the text, press the enter key. Okay, so this is how you can edit the data inside a worksheet. Next topic is about performing calculations. That is, inside Excel you can perform mathematical operations like addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, etc. And look at the table 5.3. Some operators which are used inside Excel are being displayed. Okay, first one is brackets, second one is power, third one is divide, fourth one is multiply, fifth one is addition, and sixth one is subtract. Okay, all of you familiar with this particular operators. Okay, and the symbols which are used for this operators. Okay, now let us see how to add two numbers inside Excel. Okay, first step is we have to click in a cell to make it active. Okay, for making a cell active you have to click on it. Second step is you have to type an equal sign. We have studied that formula always starts with an equal sign. Okay, here we are writing a formula for adding two numbers, so you have to type an equal sign. Then third step is you have to type the first number. See in the picture or in the figure 5.10a, first you have typed an equal sign, then you have typed the first number 18. Then fourth step is you have to type the addition operators, that is plus. And fifth step is type the second number. The second number is 31. Okay, so the formula is equal to 18 plus 31. And look at the output in the figure 5.10b. The output is 49. Okay, so for adding two numbers inside the Excel, first you have to click on the cell in which you want to get the result. Okay, and second step is you have to type an equal sign. Third step is you have to type the first number. Here the first number is 18. Then you have to type the addition operator plus. Then you have to type the second number and you have to click on the end. The answer will be displayed inside the cell. See in the figure 5.10b, the result that is being displayed is 49. Next, let us study how to save a workbook. The steps are step number 1, click on the file tab. Step number 2, under the file tab, click on the save option. The save as dialog box opens. Step number 3, enter a file name. And step number 4, click on the save button. Your workbook is now saved. Okay, so these are the steps for saving a workbook. Step number 1 is you have to click on the file tab. Under the file tab there is a save option. Okay, you have to click on that save as option. Once you click on the save as option, the save as dialog box will appear. What you see in this page, in this picture is the save as dialog box. Okay, and you have to enter a file name. And fourth step is you have to click on the save button. Your workbook will be saved now. Okay, next topic is opening a saved workbook. For that the steps are, first one, click on the file tab. Under the file tab, click on the open option. The open dialog box will appear. And third step is select the workbook and click on the open. Okay, so these are the steps for opening a saved workbook. First step is you have to click on the file tab. See in this picture, first step is you have to click on the file tab, and under the file tab there is an option given for open. See, it is been marked with a red box. Okay, there is an option given for open. you have to click on that. Then the open dialog box will appear, and you have to select the workbook from that open dialog box, and at last you have to click on the open. Okay, all these things, they are been marked with a red box. So this is how you can open a saved workbook. Next, let us see how to exit from Excel. First step is you have to click on the file tab, and second step is you have to click on the exit option. Okay, see in this picture, first you have to click on the file tab, and under the file tab there is a last option that is for exit. You have to click on that exit option. Okay, so this is how you can exit an Excel. And with this we come to the end of this chapter. Okay, thank you.